much from every single one of you, and it's just been really, really good.
I just wanted to say, being out of the workforce for 6 years, looking after little kids, and this is the first course I've ever done, and it was astounding. It blew my mind. It was beyond my expectations. And thank you, Kate, for the feedback today. That was brilliant, and it's given me the confidence to back myself, because I didn't have that before. Because you know, when you leave for a while and you come back, it's all a bit dodgy. So thank you,
Sam. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That has been absolutely awesome. I've learned a hell of a lot today, and I really feel like we're all improving. So thank you so much. It's been really awesome.
I wish everyone all the best on the course. I think it's a wonderful course. And Sam, you've created an amazing business, but I also want to congratulate the people you've got working underneath you, because it wouldn't be that great if you didn't have all this wonderful resource. And I congratulate them for supporting you. It's excellent.
I'd actually just like to thank Sam and the team so much for everything you've done, but I'd really like to thank everybody else. I have learnt so much from all of you. It's just been so exhilarating. I'm so excited for each and every one of you, because it's just, the growth in such a short space of time has been phenomenal. So thank you all very, very much.
So I want to say, look, I've forever been doing courses and programs. I've probably spent over $350,000 in my life. This was worth every cent. I'm very, very impressed with the level of knowledge of the coaches. And they just kept offering gold nugget after gold nugget. Definitely was worth every minute as well. So thanks.
Hi guys, I just wanted to say my work relies on face-to-face workshops, speaking at conferences around the world. So investing in this course is really about looking to the future. So it's really an investment in the long term. It's been a really, really professionally put together course. So commendations all round to all of you.
From the age of 9 years old, I have been fascinated with success. The day I left school, I could not read, spell or write. I had no idea what I wanted to be or could be. All I did know was I had a burning desire to create success. I just didn't know where to start or how to achieve it. My only option was to get a job at McDonald's. For 18 years, my desired success mission was to own my own McDonald's stores. For me to achieve this, I needed to be an outstanding performer and create wealth of over $1 million, debt-free. I achieved my desired success mission 3 years ago. I currently own 2 McDonald's stores that produce over $8 million in revenue per annum. For many years, I have had a deep sense that my story, message and knowledge was meant to be heard by more than just the people within my life. I knew I had to find the right person to help me achieve this mission. Sam showed me the power of stories, the ability to be more vulnerable, and most of all, how to systemize 20 years of leadership, business, and success knowledge. If you have a story, message, or knowledge that you want to share and add value to people, Sam is your man.
Hey guys, Sam Cawthorne here, CEO and founder of Speakers TV. Lean in where you can, give us any level of feedback, and we are really excited about your success. And don't forget, the best is yet to come.
I want to ask you all, how many of you all crave a strong, deep and nourishing connection with your child? I'm here because I want to improve my speaking skills, get more stage presence and even more self-love, because I hated the way I was on stage or talking or being in the world. The boot camp has also given me immense clarity on what I want to do in life. Because you know what? We aren't getting feedback from our kids on our parenting skills. We're taking feedback from clients, customers. But what about our kids? Are you getting feedback from them? They are parenting based on themselves. I know best. I am the parent. That doesn't work. That's what leads to an attachment breakdown.
You were really moving me then, and you really also convicted me as well. You spoke to me, and I thank you for that. I can see you going on a TED stage in 12 months' time.
Welcome to Speakers TV, and I'm super excited because on today's Friday episode, we have brought together some of the best speakers in the world. And not only that, if you're really struggling in your life, or maybe you're ready for a transition, or maybe you want to learn how to craft your story, or maybe you want to learn tangible takeaways to get on stage on TENx, or alternatively, learn how to write a best-selling book, then you've tuned into the right episode, because we've put together some of the best speakers in the world to really help and coach you all throughout this episode. So please lean in where you can, and I know that for your life, the best is yet to come.
Our next speaker is just extraordinary. He's a futurist, an author, and a professional international speaker. He shared the stage with Hillary Clinton, Nobel laureates, European and Australian heads of state. In fact, he keynoted at the G20Y20 Global Summit. He's also been on the TEDx USA stage. His travel itinerary with 240 international dates means that he is the most sought after professional speaker. Ladies and gents, Anders Sorman-Nilsson.
G'day. How you going? Yeah? Cool. Can you all make sense of my slightly weird Aussie-Swedish accent? Whatever. We're cool with that. Where are the introverts in the audience? Just you can just nod if you're understanding it. Just making sure the analog signal's being picked up by some of the analog and digital radio antenna here in the room. Great to be up here at QT at the Gold Coast. Just caught the tail end of the presentation beforehand, so looked amazing. How good was that? That's like kind of positively disappointing. Was that awesome or what? Yeah, all right, cool. There we go. All right, high levels of interactivity, fantastic. I should just, before I get kick started as well, ladies and gentlemen, courtesy of Speakers Triumph, Sam, Fran, and the team, all the slides are available for you guys. You can download them, watch them in real time. If you're really analog, you can also just follow along in the real HD presentation that happens here in the room. But if you have an even more analog soul, you can even print out to your heart's delight all the slides as well. Who's old school and likes to print stuff out? Okay, there's a few, fantastic. So, courtesy of Sam and the team, they are available. We'll share the URL in a little bit again in a second. Ladies and gentlemen, as a futurist, fantastic, thank you. How did I handle that from like 0 to 10? Was that all right or not? We'll see. Sam, was that like deliberate to just go, hey, you know, like let's just see, let's just throw him a curveball? All right, there's like hospital pass from Sam. Thanks, mate. All right, cool. So as a futurist, I'm also a little bit of a traditionalist, and I take some inspiration from the old idea of the Roman god of war, Janus. He was said to have one eye firmly towards the future and one firmly towards the past. And I think this is kind of cool when it comes to strategy. And I think it pertains to any speaker. We have to bring the analog and the digital together, tradition and technology when it comes to storytelling. So in today's session, I kind of want to, I guess, bring a little bit of infotainment for you guys to show you a little bit of the maybe magic behind the tricks or the tricks behind the magic, the smokes and mirrors, but also hopefully leave you guys with some real tools and tips that you can use in your own practices moving forward. Because I believe that unless we bring our humanity and scale it digitally and of course in the analog world, we run the risk in the future of creating some kind of cyber dystopia that feels a little bit digitally dehumanized. So before I talk about a couple of trends impacting your industry moving forward, let me kind of take you back on a historical journey back into the past to explore with you why fundamentally at heart I'm a little bit of a traditionalist. Have we got 2 channels open now? Should I go back to that one? All right, fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, I do my own AV. Actually, so a real human is coming. Thank you very much. All right. Fantastic. Big round of applause to the technologist, the real technologist in the audience. Let me take you back on a historical journey back into the past for a moment in time, to a time that in many ways was a little bit simpler. I'm going to grab a little bit of audio with the audio visual here as well, if we may, from the back desk. Let me take you back on a historical journey back into the past, to a time that was a little bit simpler. Things were a little bit more, in a sense, black or white. I'll just bring it down a little bit, thank you, awesome. Things were a little bit quieter. They were a little bit more binary, either this or that. And amazingly, back in the 1910s in Stockholm, where I'm from originally, things were just a little bit more zen in a sense. People only amazingly back then wore black or white clothing, in fact. Certainly no bright colour had been invented quite yet. And this here was the urban vista that once upon a time greeted a man by the name of Georg Johansson, the son of Johan, which sounds very Viking-esque, or in Australian we'd call him George Johansson. As the second oldest son on the family farm, he had few inheritance rights, and as a result, he had to make his own commercial future in the cityscape of Stockholm. And his commercial opportunity was to dress the increasingly sophisticated Swedish gentlemen of the era, a time before selfies, Instagram husbands, even selfie sticks, when looking into a camera was still very much of a technological novelty. His opportunity was to open up the doors to his little menswear store in Stockholm in 1916. And as he became a man of commerce and entrepreneurship and a nod to his farming background, he changed his surname from the son of Johan to the man from the southern farm, or in Swedish, Georg Sorman. He's my great-grandfather, and as you can tell, he must have been a bit of a futurist because he's got an awesome haircut, a cool little pocket square. You can also see that we share some genealogical traits with North Korean dictators. And he invested in the latest technology of the era, the neon sign, to win the then analog hearts and the then analog minds of yesteryear's customers. But for my mother, Birgitta, who looks pretty awesome for a 106-year-old, as you can tell, we moisturize in our family, and my mum still dresses me every day before work. For her, the business world has drastically shifted underneath her feet. Today's customer, just like your customers, are now behaving differently, amplified and augmented through new technologies. We are all, as B2B customers, behaving like cyborgs, people whose mental and physical abilities are extended through new technologies. And in her case, this means that they will walk through the shop, spend time with mum, have a glass of wine or a cup of coffee with her while she's telling them about the provenance of the goods, the family businesses from around the world that she sources her goods from. She'll hand over free intellectual property. And then after scanning a barcode incentivized by Amazon with a 5% discount to contribute to the real-time pricing in the cloud. Who remembers the good old days when cloud was just a meteorological term that blocked the sun in Melbourne, right? They say, hey, we'll think about it, and you know they're not going to think about it. Then they turn their backs onto mum, go to the door, to the sound of a lonely, very small bell, they go outside and order the item on Mr. Porter or at amazon.com/fashion instead. This has been brutalizing my mum's now third generation business. The business is now 103 years of age. And just like many speakers in the industry who hopefully you guys will disrupt, many established speakers in Australia are living on old merits, just like my mum. She goes, if we just pray and hope long enough, this internet thing is just going to go away. All right? My mum doesn't like change, and I think that's in many ways quite human, right? Because change can be awkward, can't it? Who remembers puberty? Okay. Has anyone ever tried changing a partner? Okay. Not necessarily physically exchanging them for somebody else, because I know from personal experience that can be very expensive. Worst financial decision you can ever make. All right? But like selling them on the concept of paleo diets, more long walks on the beach in 2019, how does that pan out by the 21st of January? The problem, of course, with change is that change doesn't care whether my mum likes it, we like it, speakers of any generation like it or not. It's always going to happen without our permission. And when the rate of technological change externally, including the buyer's journey of your business-to-business or your non-for-profit customers, when the buyer's journey is shifting faster than you're adapting, innovating, and being creative in your own practice, sooner or later we'll face the music, just like my mum. And the reality is that the way she runs this business and the way many professional speakers run their businesses in a very analog and frankly unprofessional manner. My mum, her version of big data is with a pen and paper, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shirts or versions of this SKU left on her shelves. How does that compare with Amazon? Right? The reality is that in many ways, the way she runs her business in a very old school fashion is perfectly prepared for a world that no longer exists. And the world of speaking has drastically shifted, which for you as aspiring speakers is really good news. Because there's a lot of speakers, and Sam would attest to this as well, who are living on old merits, but who have not embraced the new scalable means of communications that is now at your disposal, right? Who still send faxes to speakers' bureaus to gain cut-through, because this used to work in 1991, right? And my mum likes to continue doing things the way her dad did before him and his father before him, because this is how to connect with humans, right? Now, can you imagine how annoying it must be to have a son who's a futurist, right? My mum has absolutely no idea what I do for a living. She calls me her son the glorified astrologer. Right? There's no one like your family to tell you what you truly do for a living, right? And you're going to face these challenges when you go and you, of course, build your professional practices moving forward as well. I wrote a little love letter to my mum a few years ago called Digilog, How to Win the Digital Minds and the Analog Hearts of Tomorrow's Customers, where I argue that, Mum, you don't have to throw away the analog baby with the digital bathwater. But to truly connect and win both the hearts and the minds of tomorrow's customers, you have to excel at both tradition and technology. They are not mutually exclusive, but mutually reinforceable. Now, this book has the ears of Fortune 500 executives. The former head of retail at Westpac credits this book in the bricks meeting click strategy of Westpac that have seen it move from number 4 in terms of retail banking customer satisfaction to number 1. Unfortunately for me, the person I wrote this love letter for has not yet read the love letter. I feel like a stalker to my mum, right? Some of you have met my mum in Japan, for example, right? A few years ago, financial services conference, or maybe you missed my mum there. I actually did bring mum to one of these gigs in Tokyo, Japan, a few years ago, which was a special moment in time for me. So what have I just done? I'm going to kind of just go smokes and mirrors here a little bit. Now, who thinks that any speaker that gets up and talks about a book they've just written is a bit of a douche? Okay, you can raise your hands, but did I do it slightly differently? I go, love letter to my mum, build a bit of credibility, and then go, I'm heartbroken, because she doesn't read it, but there's some people from Westpac that do. Yeah? Really, what I'm just asking for from a therapy perspective here is for my mum to listen to me. Okay? Who feels like you're just part of family therapy so far? Okay, you guys send me the invoice, please. All right? So, hopefully some opportunities, just in the opening here, for you guys to think about, hopefully some value, but also what's going on behind the scenes as I'm speaking to you guys today. So, let me move forward. I just want to give you the terms of reference, because we are going to come back to your worlds of professional speaking. The terms of reference here, the analog world, the digital world, right? This is the old school way of speaking, right? It's printed materials, it's the analog, it's physicality, right? Meeting, of course, not just the face-to-face, but also interface to interface. Bringing together old school communications with new school, the offline and the online. The personal touch of your business together with, of course, the digital connect. The fact is that professional speakers, we have an opportunity to constantly drive inbound leads and attraction towards our businesses through the variety of social media and digital media that's now available to all of us, right? We can be selling while we are sleeping, and this is magical. This was not possible 10 or 15 years ago. But today, I often wake up with conversions of gigs in the United States, right? And the great thing about that is they pay 4 times the amount of money as they do in Australia. So while I'm sleeping is some of my most productive time, right? And I like to remind myself of that when my 19-month-old Lucian at home keeps waking me up. And I'm like, I'm still providing for our family even when I go up and change his nappies and give him a bottle of milk, right? One of these worlds is sort of high touch, one is high tech, and I believe one of these worlds is about winning hearts, the other one is about winning minds, but of course we have to excel at doing both. And if we think about this from sort of a rough and dirty or a quick and dirty SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, we know that from a sales and marketing perspective, both of these two worlds have some weaknesses to them. Who feels like sometimes when you're getting digitally spammed, right? You're just going, digital marketing sucks, right? But then we also used to get physical spam. Who gets pissed off and has like no advertising signs on your physical mailbox? Who doesn't know what a mailbox is? Right? Okay, all right. The Gen Ys are showing their age. But of course we can offset the weaknesses of both of these two worlds as well, right? We can hyper-personalize things in the digital world. I'm sure Sam will tell you about, for example, doing personalized video messages or personalized video proposals that can happen in an instant and you can connect globally, right? In a way that we couldn't do it yesteryear. At the same time, I recently just closed a deal for a gig in Barcelona by going out to North Ryde to hang out with the event organizer for AstraZeneca, who are running their global conference in Barcelona, by showing up face to face and connecting human to human, belly to belly, the kind of world that my mum loves, right? We have to be able to do both. And this is, of course, key as we think about a world that we're now living in, which is post-truth, of truthiness, in a world where the Washington Post found that in his first year as President of the United States, Donald Trump told 6,000 lies or misrepresentations. That doesn't mean we can. Because increasingly, storytelling is not just about great stories. Because we've all heard professional speakers who make up statistics. Like, you can go and fact check what I just said about Washington Post. Okay? Because we need to tell digitally verifiable stories. And I'll come back to this in a moment. How do you build brands and story in a future where truth and trust are, well, I would say devolving. Some people would say evolving, right? We'll come back to this and give you some tools and tips of how to do this. Because in today's world, we are still sort of limited by how we think about work. A few years ago, in the United States, the then Secretary of Defense, Leon Panetta, thought about the fact that the battle lines of war were shifting, right? And he thought, why don't we start awarding medals for heroism for drone fighters, drone pilots, and cyber warfare professionals? How do you think this went down with real analog war veterans? By the way, I'm from a military family. How do you think it went down? Right? They scrapped this proposal very, very quickly, right? However, today, yesteryear's cowards, snipers, are now being played by Bradley Cooper in Hollywood movies. They are now seen as heroes, even though they are behind the battle line, so to speak. Unfortunately, us as humans think of battle lines, be it in your business or out there in the other world of real battles, in a very linear fashion. Today, though, warfare is about sending in the code first, and then maybe the humans and the robots enter. In your businesses, it's about sending in the code, the digital messages, the digitization of your authentic self before you then turn up to win the battle. Who just heard a metaphor? Right? But this is the world we're now living in. A world where we have to be acutely aware of the trends. In fact, I could argue that no matter what your area of subject expertise is, whether you're a leadership speaker, whether you're a spiritual guru, whether you just love productivity and time management is your thing, we all have to be futurists. We all have to be aware of what's going on in the world to study sociocultural, technological, economic, environmental, and political trends. Because otherwise, we're going to run out of relevance. I still hear speakers talking about customer service as if it was 1983, right? And sometimes this can work. In the United States, which is a huge economy, like, you can kind of get your way around, but you quickly lose relevance in a market like Australia if you pretend as if it's 1983. I was born in 1981, so I really have no idea what I'm talking about in that particular regard, but, you know, you get the hint. All right? We all have to be futurists, to think about how we can scenario plan and almost think like science fiction authors of what the industry of speaking, storytelling, story connecting might look like in the future. Make sure you download these slides, because these are exercises you can actually complete later on. Today, we don't have the time, but there's a 12-step process, like in any good program. All right? Cool. This leads us to really the first trend that I want to kind of dig deeply into, which is that every business model, including ours, is now getting digitally hacked at exponential rates. What does this mean? We're all getting hacked, either literally or metaphorically. The thing that worries me today with artificial intelligence or computing increasingly happening at a quantum level is not so much that the machines are learning, it's that humans suck at learning or change. I think the two are actually interchangeable, Right? In 1967, the Swedish government decided we were going to shift from left lane driving to right lane driving because, ladies and gentlemen, that is where the future of transport happens. All right? Because the blind spots like better, etc., could still happen in Australia. We'll see. Although in an era of self-driving cars, we may no longer need left or right lane driving, by the way. Right? It was every ambulance chasing lawyer, their version of Disneyland. And the big change management mantra of the era was just smile. We're all just new at this. Isn't it a wonderful change management mantra? Right? When you adopt a new technology and you're trying to figure out your new CRM or your Marketo system or Infusionsoft or whatever, just smile. We're all just new at this. Okay? Let's compare and contrast that world of change to this one. And imagine for a moment sending your kids, your nieces, your nephews, maybe even your elderly grandmother in her wheelchair out across this intersection on her way to the retirement village. Now, according to the World Economic Forum, over the next decade, we'll be able to save 1.1 million human lives as a result of less human error and courtesy of autonomously aware and empathetic IoT, Internet of Things enabled devices like cars. Having had my annual holiday in Italy a few months ago and just barely escaped, I welcome the day when humans are no longer behind the wheels. And when I recently shared this in Mumbai, India, with one of our clients at Bharti Airtel, they said, Anders, this is nothing new. This is what it looks like in Mumbai every day of the week. And we have semi-autonomous cows as well. My mum always says, Anders, the digital world is digitally dehumanized, easy to say if you're Swedish. But in fact, I believe we can be more empathetic, courtesy of new technologies that enables all of us to design our consumer and customer journeys in a better fashion. Technology is now becoming more human and humane and enabling new ways of telling our brand stories. We've moved from an age of brand storytelling that was just about screaming out our message, right? To a world of social media where all of a sudden actually became a respectful dialogue, right? If your employment brand sucks, someone will say so on glassdoor.com, right? People are taking matters into their own hands. Now, through the connectivity model, we're entering the era of a trialogue between the brand, an IoT-enabled device, and, of course, the consumer. Let me give you an example of this. Who gets nervous when your iPhone or Samsung or Huawei device starts running low on battery? Yeah? Who hated that I just asked the question and you kind of went grip for your, okay, just to check whether it's running on yellow, right? One of the biggest challenges for Tesla in terms of adoption in Australia has been people's sense of range anxiety. Where's the next supercharger station? What do you think your sense of range anxiety might be if you're a Tesla owner in Florida during last hurricane season and you're fleeing with your family and your most beloved belongings in your Tesla and you're getting chased by a hurricane down the highway and all of a sudden the battery starts running bloody low while you see the petroleum-based vehicles overtaking you. But all of a sudden, fret not human, Elon Musk comes across the dashboard and goes, fret not human, we've just remotely upgraded your battery via the cloud so you can safely get out of harm's way. True story. What do you think your relationship to that cold piece of technology has now just become? Right? Relief. It's deeply connected, right? People say the digital world is so digitally dehumanized, but in fact, I believe we can connect with humans through this new world. The great American thought leader and management guru, yes, George Costanza, said that for everything important in your life, it needs to have a physical package. For your cash, there's your wallet. Is this true today? Of course, cash is no longer king, right? Because already your kids, your nieces, your nephews are spending your hard-earned analog cash buying virtual shit online, like virtual sneakers to an avatar. Who doesn't know what an avatar is? You're a futurist as a speaker. You need to be aware of what an avatar is. Look it up. There's something known as Google. All right? You can find out this piece of information. All right, cash is no longer king. Now, the micro vendors on the streets of Stockholm a few years ago who sell our version of the big issue, homeless people trying to get out of poverty by selling great journalism, they saw their sales going down month over month. And they asked themselves the question, is it just the case that Swedes are heartless people without a human heartbeat? Somebody else in that management meeting said, or could it be that we live in the most cashless, most digitized economy in the world, yet we only take for payment? They teamed up with a mobile POS provider, point of sale provider called iSettle that enables mobile wallets, biometric payments, NFC payments, credit card payments. Sales went up 59% by removing the friction between the positive intent to do business with this worthwhile cause and the seamless digital execution of doing so. Ask yourselves the question, in your own business, either knowingly or unknowingly, what is the friction, the paperwork, the annoying process, the unavailability of a PayPal button on your website, or whatever it happens to be, that stands in people's way of handing over money to you, or a cow, or a Bitcoin? Take all forms of payment. Don't go, we're going to charge you 2.5% extra on Amex. It's just money, take it, all right? But design a better customer journey for your clients. Friction kills businesses. Many of you would have flown here. In fact, what the research shows is if we as humans spend another 10 minutes in a security line at an airport, our propensity to spend goes down 30%. If we total all of that across North America in 1 year, that's $11.4 billion lost to the retailers who are unhappily having their little outlet between security and the gate. What's the friction in the customer journey that you've designed? And make sure you start fixing it. I win a lot of jobs in the speaking industry because we're the first ones to respond. You wouldn't believe the number of times that clients and bureaus go, oh yeah, well the other speaker took 3 days to get back to us. Have you got live chat set up? Have you got Lucip set up, which is click to call back, right? Have you got these things on your website to enable fast, seamless customer experiences? Today, we are, of course, choosing to trust digitally, right? We can build digital empathy online. 1/3 of American marriages start online today, and they are described as happier marriages, and they last for longer than humans who met in the real world, who feels ripped off. All right? And it's even higher for same-sex couples, right? This is amazing. We trust people in the digital world. I entrust Lucian to a nanny who had great reviews online. Yes, I eventually interviewed her, right? That's not how people used to meet. Is this how people book speakers today? And your reputation has to live up to the thing you hold so dear, which is your reputation. But if your reputation sucks, right, people are not going to recommend you. The better you look online, the more people are likely to word of mouth recommend you, right? It's not just about word of mouth, it's also about word of mouth recommendations. Okay. All right, let me skip a couple of slides in the interest of time. To get back to this point, which is we no longer believe false claims. We don't just go, oh, well, most dentists smoke this cigarette, so I'm going to smoke that cigarette too, right? We want verified storytelling, particularly in a post-truth world. From farm to table, we want the entire story to be verified. Here's an example.
Thank you for buying me that bag the other day.
Come on. It's more for me than you.
God, you have beautiful eyes.
Just a little bit more audio.
No one tells me that.
I'm the only one that told you that.
No, I don't mean like in a flirty way, but people, when I was a kid, like, you got great eyes. It's like, I'm just a guy.
You're my guy.
I am your guy.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Hi, hello.
My name is Dana. I'll be taking care of you today. If you have any questions about the menu, please let me know.
I guess I do have a question about the chicken. If you could just tell us a little bit more about it.
The chicken is a heritage breed, woodland-raised chicken that's been fed a diet of sheep's milk, soy, and hazelnuts.
Okay, this is local?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm gonna ask you just one more time, and it's local.
It is.
Is that USDA organic or Oregon organic or Portland organic?
It's just all across the board organic.
The hazelnuts, these are local?
How big is the area where the chickens are able to roam free?
I'm sorry to interrupt. I have exactly the same question.
4 acres. Give me just a second. I'll be right back, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
She's nice.
Well, you're doing the right thing.
I'm too apologetic.
You are.
I drove way too slow here today, didn't I?
Yeah.
I am so weird with that gas pedal. The thing just moves the whole vehicle forward. And
All right, so here is the chicken you'll be enjoying tonight.
You have this information. This is fantastic.
Absolutely. His name was Colin. Here are his papers, okay?
That's great. He looks like a happy little guy who runs around. A lot of friends, other chickens as friends. Putting his little wing around.
All right, you get the drift, I'm sure, right? Now, I'm not saying you guys are restaurateurs or chickens necessarily, but the idea here is that it's not just about fanciful storytelling, right? So what's an application to this? Ask yourself, is your LinkedIn as good looking as it should be, right? Have you got a good photo up on there, right? Have you got verifications? Have you got testimonials? Have you got your hashtags and your keywords right and set up, right? Because people check us out all the time. We digitally stalk each other all of the time. And from farm to table, right, or from speaker all the way through to the conference that you'll eventually present at, of course, people digitally stalk us through the entire value chain. Now, when it comes to beef, for example, we can tackle food fraud with cybersecurity. Food security through cybersecurity, verified on the blockchain all the way back to the farm where the cow that you're about to have tonight, the holy cow, once upon a time lived until it was harvested, as my agricultural clients call it. Isn't that a lovely term? Like, we're the vegetarians in the room, they're like, what do you say? A human or an animal being harvested, right? Okay, that sounds awful. Until they're slaughtered, but then some of us really like Angus beef. I do apologize. I try to be vegetarian, which I know is the more futuristic style of eating, but I still love protein. Who's with me? Okay, all right. No, we're not going to talk about that. All right, cool. What is happening here, though, is a really important human trust leap. And Rachel Botsman, one of our thought leader colleagues, does this really well. She's just released a book called Who Can You Trust?, where she talks about the fact that today we're living in a world that's not devoid of trust. It's just that trust is digitally democratizing. We used to trust institutions like the church. Now, not so much, right, in terms of recent events. But instead, we choose to trust 3 things. An idea, like Airbnb. People can rent out their homes to strangers. We were told, never get in a car with a stranger. If a stranger's at the door, don't let him or her in. Now we just go, your reputation is awesome. Here's the red carpet to my home. Here's the key, I'm going away. Why? Because secondly, we trust the platform. And thirdly, what's the person's reputation? What's your reputation on those platforms? That can enable us to make a trust leap to booking you guys. Because a trust leap is always involved. And you guys have the opportunity to shape this. And if you're going, I don't know about this digital world, well, the science fiction author Douglas Adams has some words of caution for you. He's come up with a set of rules to describe our reactions to new technologies. Anything that's in the world when you're born is normal and ordinary. It's just a natural part of the way the world works. Anything that's invented between the ages of 15 and 35 is new and exciting and revolutionary. You can probably get a career in it. Anything invented after the age of 35 is against the natural order of things. As a 37-year-old, I know I'm on a slippery slope right now. The good news is that there's a bunch of speakers out there, professional speakers, who are about to get very, very digitally upended by the people in this room, who are going to start mastering the digital ways of telling your stories. Luckily for these old school speakers, if they retire today, robots can no longer take their jobs. All right? Or humans can no longer take their jobs. And this is totally normal for my son Lucien, who grows up with his human intelligence, which is going to be augmented and amplified by artificial intelligence, who grows up next to Baby X, an artificially intelligent bot from New Zealand, who played Mozart perfectly at 9 months of age. Lucien was a slow walker. He started walking at 16 months of age. Up until that point in time, I like to think of him just doing upper body exercise. But for him, this artificial intelligence that can scale his human ingenuity, authenticity, creativity, and do the grunt work like spreading, easy to say if you're Swedish, punching spreadsheets, Lucien will never have to do. He won't have to learn how to drive a car because AI will do that for him. Are you using your human intelligence and amplifying it with artificial intelligence? Having just touted the benefits of the digital world, I also believe that the digital world can be extremely ephemeral. It happens quickly, yes, but it's also easily forgotten. Who remembers your first digital MP3 download? Okay. It was probably a criminal act, but it's a safe, loving, sharing environment in here today, so that's totally cool. All right. On the other hand, and maybe we were demographically biased, who remembers your first vinyl, cassette, or even CD, right, for the audiophiles amongst you? Vinyl is forever. Nobody remembers the first digital download. I really just share this particular slide because when my brother and I are out and about, people go, sing us that song. 8 laughs, okay, fantastic. It usually goes down a bit better. Proclaimers, 500 miles, okay. All right, fantastic, okay. My mum gets super happy with the fact that today, right, last year, we hit a 25-year high in UK vinyl sales. And no, it's not just DJs, right? Mum goes, we're going back to the past. It's safe, we're going to be great, it's going to be a new renaissance, right? A retro renaissance. Then I go, Mum, we also, as speakers, as business people, have to focus on the data. It doesn't suffice to be nostalgic and think that being nostalgic is the same thing as being strategic. We are not going back to the heydays of vinyl and the analog, but the analog still matters because sometimes we overhype new technologies, like conversational commerce. Who's got an Amazon Alexa Echo in your home? Have you ordered anything on it? Okay, not in Australia. You can't in Australia, all right. That's friction to be solved by Amazon. Out of the tens of millions of devices that are installed in American homes, only 2% of Americans have actually conversationally commerced with Alexa. And out of those 2%, 90% have never reordered a thing, even though it's supposedly seamless, right? We have to balance tradition with technology in our industry. Turn up and be bloody awesome in person, but also digitally scale your stories. When I met my financial advisor, Gavin, what was I given? A word of mouth recommendation at an Aussie Sunday barbecue. Now, back in the day, you would have gone, I choose to trust Gavin based upon a word of mouth recommendation. What do we now do? I digitally stalked him for 3 weeks to see whether the brand connotations, futuristic, understands technology investments, really personal, whether his reputation stacked up to his reputation, to see whether we had friends in common on LinkedIn, to check out his social media reviews, his testimonials, to check out his YouTube videos. I also downloaded, because Wi-Fi in the air in Australia sucks, so you have to download things first before you get on a flight. Downloaded some of his thought leadership articles. Eventually, after 3 weeks, I emailed him to make an appointment in real analog reality. Now he's been helping me for the last 8 years. But if he only had the analog touch points, but nothing in between, he could never have garnered where he lost me on the customer journey. Now, because he places cookies on my computer, he knows how people are progressing in their customer journey. He knows that somebody who fills in a form to download his thought leadership articles is pretty close to a sale. And if I had not picked up my laptop and emailed him, he could have contacted me because he now had my details. Do you use the technologies like this? Okay. Got a couple of more slides and then we're going to wrap up. What we need to learn as speakers, B2B, B2C, no matter what you happen to sell, is that the customer journey has changed. It's no longer for you or other speakers, decision, usage, and hopefully brand advocacy for you in a way that's linear. We skip around using analog and digital touch points all of the time. And the question is, where are the gaps in your customer journeys? And if there are gaps, you need to fill them with amazing content. Let me give you an example of this. We've been doing some advisory work in Colombia in the tourism industry. Moving from awareness to engagement, evaluation, decision could look like this. Aha, awareness. There's a magical place called Cartagena on the Atlantic coast, right? Through Google. I want to be inspired by movies and pictures of Cartagena. Instagram, Pinterest. Imagine if you're a tourism operator or a travel organizer, a travel agency, if you've got great visual content, video, etc. Evaluation. I think I want to experience Cartagena in luxury. What are the top 3 hotels or premium speakers I should be thinking about? Decision. I'm ready to decide, but how do I make the best decision? Is there a buyer's guide on things to consider in Cartagena? Whether to live in Old Town or maybe in one of the luxury resorts outside of it. How does this translate into your worlds, right? Have you guys got a buyer's guide? Like one of our blogs is, when you're choosing your conference speaker, here are the 7 criteria you as a client should be thinking about. You don't need to book me, but they do. Because we build trust digitally. Finally, next year I want to trump my experience in Cartagena. I've already decided to I do my own stunts too. There's a white line here, I love it. All right. But I want to go further afield to Spain. I want international yet local expertise and curation. Maybe the travel agency that I've already booked with can help me with that. We get deeper into our relationship. And today, as speakers, we're all technology companies with a license in professional speaking. If you're just going to the digital world's too difficult, think again. Because digital is the lingua franca of business. It's not English or Chinese. Digital is the language we all have to master. And you don't want to be illiterate in it. And this is what the research shows us. Business buyers are willing to pay up to 30% more for a superior experience, right? We want to download articles, not see ads, right? We also think that content has a key role as a buyer in helping us decide for which speaker we're going to go with. You guys all have to be thought leadership content generators. And today, we have the means at our disposal all of the time. It's in your back pocket. We are digitally democratized, and it's easy to do. And your authentic voice, where your mess is your message, as you guys all have memorized, is a very authentic way of connecting heart to heart, belly to belly through the digital world. Because nowadays, because of digitization, sales and marketing are converging. In fact, you're all smarketers. And people who understand that sales and marketing are converging. When people download more content and stream more content, the sales function just kind of happens automatically. Most of the time when I have a pre-briefing call with a client, particularly overseas, they're like, we've already watched all your videos. We just wanted to do a final check. Right? Sales kind of happens as a result of your marketing being extraordinary. All right, let me start wrapping up. We are living in a pre-world that is ordained with data. And today, courtesy of the digital world, we can be more humane and customer-centric by being data-centric. Claiming that we're really customer-centric because we just kind of good, like we have this rapport with humans and we gather little snippets of data, doesn't scale. But if we have data about their preferences, all of a sudden we are. And as speakers, we are in the transformation economy, which is really exciting. Because we used to be in an experience economy, which still matters. But today, courtesy of Nike, Lululemon, Acorns, or Rays as they're now called, they are in the business of having humans self-actualize. You guys are in that business. The question is whether you're communicating your role in that transformation economy. All right, I'm out of time. I don't usually skip slides, but let me give you a final couple of questions, ladies and gentlemen. That was like the most awkward. I haven't finished yet, but I'm nearly there, Sam. All right. Futurists don't leave you with 3 silver bullet points. By the way, that's a really easy way for those of you who don't want to fix all your clients' problems to just go, I'm going to ask questions instead. Because have someone told you that you have to give them like 3 practical things to take away from your presentation? I kind of go against the grain on that. I mean, it's good advice, but yeah. I ask questions because futurists, right? Our role is to get your creative wheels into motion. Full stops and silver bullets end cognitive inquiry. Questions get our creative wheels into motion. And my 5 questions to all of you today are the following. Firstly, how can you get 2x the result with half the effort? Through your creativity and also technology. Which old analog processes in your business, remember mums 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Don't offer you any actionable data insights and need upgrading immediately. Maybe invest in a new marketing system like Infusionsoft or HubSpot, actually be customer-centric by being data-centric. The effect of your competition adopting the right exponential technologies, why you simply don't by 2025. What's the analog baby in your business, in your authentic self, in your human experience that you mustn't throw away with the digital bathwater, but which can be further augmented and amplified courtesy of technology? And finally, what would your competition not want you to do next? Now, you might all ask, Anders, whatever happened to your mum's little shop in Stockholm, Sweden? where you'll all get 10% mates rates next time you see my mum. Never miss an opportunity to sell or to invite to buy. Well, my mum thought about these two worlds and realised that maybe they're not mutually exclusive. She's decided to sort of sit down, quieten down a little bit, and have a conversation with a little Swedish digital unicorn called Spotify. You might have heard of them. To see if she could bring a new soundtrack to her brand, to see if there was still future relevance in her old school business, in the personal touch and the intergenerational wisdom of doing the perfect little pocket square read video content, to see if video, sound, and of course digital scalability could connect her old school black and white brand, to take the history, the heritage, her mess as a third generation owner-operator and translate it into a multicolored, increasingly globalized future. And as a result, she's digitized both the back end and also the front end, including my brother as a cheap male model. He does a great blue steel. And nowadays, digital and analog touch points seamlessly interweave. And while Mum doesn't get everything right, she now adheres to the mantra of just smile. We're all just new at this. Enabling a beta mode of learning or change. And I want to encourage all of you guys to go out and be sticky beaks for the unexplored and to come up with rip-snorting, marketing ideas that have real chutzpah. Because I think that way your professional speaking businesses will transform. I think that's exactly the way they are meant to be for the future. Thank you.
Sam Cawthorn here, CEO and founder of Speakers Institute. If you give me 60 seconds of your time, I'll show you how to set up an online webinar in 48 hours while growing your authentic followers to tens of thousands, and then teach you how to package your IP so they buy your programs online using what we call influence on video. What this means is you talk to camera, share your value, and then stack your offerings and create urgency in a way that makes it so irresistible that they click the button and purchase your high ticket sale. Talk with any of our clients globally, and I promise you will not find anyone that does what we do. All you have to do is to create an online event, share your ideas, and then stack your offerings just like this. And here's the big secret. Everyone is online right now searching for people just like you to help them learn things that you already know. There are people doing it right now, but they probably don't know as much as you. So right now is your chance to learn how to sell online, and my influence on video formula is easy to use and foolproof for anyone to master. Just recently, I did a 1.5 hour video online to only 40 people, and at the end, 10 of them bought my $4,000 product, all by one click of the button. It was seamless. So if you want me to show you how to influence on video, stack your offerings that make it irresistible, learn my exact script so you can come across authentic and real, and create urgency so then they buy immediately, then click on the link below and join my free masterclass.
To firstly acknowledge you, Sam. Thank you so much for instituting the Speakers Institute, and all of the lovely people who've attended today. I think they've done an absolutely wonderful job. I think all of their stories are worthy of stage presence. I think you'll all go very far.
I just wanted to say, being out of the workforce for 6 years, looking after little kids, and this is the first course I've ever done. And it was astounding. It blew my mind. It was beyond my expectations. And thank you, Kate, for the feedback today. That was brilliant. And it's given me the confidence to back myself, because I didn't have that before. Because, you know, when you leave for a while and you come back, it's all a bit dodgy. So thank you.
Basically, because I felt that despite having a successful career, I was being held back by my own internal difficulty with public speaking. Obviously, it's been a really valuable 3 days. I caught a lot of techniques, a lot of experience on speaking, but I think surprisingly, the most important thing as well, my message. I really nailed down what my message is to take out there into the world.
I think the process was useful. I think it helped me really clean up and clarify my story. And I think that should go a long way to take me to where I want to.
I came from a corporate background. I'd spent many years working in corporate organisations. I had a lot of mental health issues and I suffered a breakdown. And I went through a period of recovery, and out of that recovery it was, well, what do I want to do with my life? I've come up with a lot of learnings based on what I experienced in corporate organisations, but also I help people through change, so what could I do with my personal learnings? And I packaged those two up together to become The Happy Path, which is my business, and I now coach people through change and organisations through change. I know that I would have probably shared my story one-on-one with a few people. It may have come up in conversation, but I never would have thought to claim the stage, to go out there in a practical way, because not everyone with mental health issues has the courage to share their story or to build that appreciation for other people. And I have that courage. I found that courage through Speakers Institute, and that was my epiphany, that share my story, and the amount of people who connect with me afterwards, even privately, so not necessarily in a likes or comments or shares or cheerleading for me, but in a way sharing their experiences. So the power of sharing a story that has been huge. It's not just about getting the skills to execute your craft on stage. It's actually all about building your business, building those connections with organisations. So for me, I know that I'm definitely better positioned to be a catalyst for positive change than I would have been previously.
This is the Celebrity Authority Show. Please welcome your host, Sam Cawthorne.
Hello, and welcome to another episode here of Celebrity Authority Show. I'm super excited about our guest today. We have Carla Simpson here. She is a thought leader in the area of happiness. Now, happiness is such an overused word. Tell me more about why we need happiness in the world today. First of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's so great to be here. Very exciting.
Tell us more about why do we need more happiness in the world?
Well, everyone wants to be happy. So I don't think that there's anyone out there that's wakes up in the morning and says, I don't want to be happy. But unfortunately, the society we live in, a lot of people aren't happy. Our statistics are showing us that there's a lot of people suffering mental illness, depression, anxiety, and suicides on the rise, and especially in our youth, which is a little bit scary. Yeah. Well, not a little bit scary, it's actually very scary.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Carla, tell us some more about your story. You've got an amazing story and also a very successful businesswoman as well. So tell us more about who you are, what you do.
So I started my own journey, I guess, travelling the world. I spent 3.5 years backpacking my way around, doing some really crazy stuff, trying to, I guess, discover who I was. And then I came home and decided to settle down, and I established a first gym franchise, Anytime Fitness. So they're a big franchise now.
And that's here in Australia?
Yeah, so I have it in my hometown in Woy Woy.
Great. So that's the central coast of New South Wales, yeah.
Yeah, and I've had it for 5 years now. So I've watched that grow, and I built it up to about 1,200 members now, 1,300 members.
Hey, congratulations, that's outstanding.
Thank you. And I love what I do. I'm a personal trainer in there as well, which is mainly what I do now. And, just seeing the changes in people and what people can do. One of my clients has lost over 75 kilos and just blows my mind every day, So
that must really fulfill you as well, seeing other people transform their life, because you have created this business that allows people to transform their life, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. But that sort of steered me on to grow more. So, you know, the gym, yes, I love it, but there was more that I wanted to give. And throughout my journey, I found yoga and how it helped me, you know, and what it did for me. And I don't know, it woke me up one day, you know, I thought, oh my gosh, wow. And I wanted to give that to more people. So,
and that was through yoga?
Definitely.
Okay.
The teacher said something to me one day and I thought, oh my gosh, I do have two voices in my head.
So what did the teacher say?
Well, she was just talking throughout the class. I was practicing yoga and there was some comment about, you know, how we all have two voices and which voice do we listen to. And I guess for a long time I didn't realise that I had two voices. I just thought that was normal. And I remember being there and being, shit, you know, there is someone else talking to me. And through my journey, I wanted to share that with other people. So I opened up my own yoga school.
Great.
I've had that for 2 years now.
So you've got a yoga school, got a gym.
Yeah, and they're completely separate.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't even know that I have both sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's definitely just helped me grow and evolve. You know, seeing all these people come in, and it showed me how many people in my society, in my home community, but also in Australia and the rest of the world are unhappy.
And Carla, you're always growing and evolving, you know, from having this gym, now having a yoga studio, and now you are an author. Tell me more.
I want to share my message and, you know, that happiness is available to everyone. A lot of people, I think that happiness is an end result.
Yeah.
And for a long time, you know, I thought it too. So, you know, when you get married, you'll be happy, or, you know, when you get that job, you'll be happy. But the reality is that happiness is a choice we have in every moment.
Great.
And through me learning that, I want to share that with the world.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I did self-publish my own book, Get Happy Now.
Great. Love it. The Toolkit to Live the Life You Deserve by Carla Marie. Hey, look, that is fantastic. Tell me more about what exactly is happiness?
Well, happiness is just the way we feel. You know, and just choosing, it's a conscious effort to choose the way we see our world. So for example, you know, you wake up in the morning and the alarm goes off. You have two choices. You can press snooze and be like, oh, I don't want to go to work, life's a drag. Or you can press and get up out of bed and be excited to go to work. And I think one of the things for me is, I was trekking the Kokoda Trail a few years ago.
You've done Kokoda?
Yeah, and Everest Base Camp.
And you've done Everest Base Camp. That is phenomenal. Congratulations.
Thanks. Hard work, but good.
Yeah. I'm sure it is pretty hard work, yeah.
An amazing opportunity though. But I still remember a conversation. I had a porter carrying my bag, and they don't speak much English. And we're in our boots and, we've got the gear on and they're wearing thongs and carrying, they get paid per kilo that they carry on their back.
Yeah.
So on average, girls my size are carrying 50 kilos on their back. Like, it's unbelievable. And I was just talking to my porter who was behind me, and he says, oh, I don't get you Westerners. I said, oh, what do you mean? He says, so many people so unhappy. He said, I don't understand. He goes, me, I walk every day, my feet bleed. And he goes, and I just love to come home and I see my wife, my little baby, me so happy.
Wow.
And I just thought, in that moment, I was like, exactly right. You know, we've got so caught up in what we want, what we think we need, when really it's just here.
Yeah, that is
It's
beautiful.
just here.
That is beautiful.
So
looking at this book here, Get Happy Now, how do we get happy now?
Well, for me, what I learnt was that it's a choice and it's a daily effort.
Yeah.
So, like brushing our teeth, we don't decide to do it one day of the month. We do it every day.
Yeah.
If you're like me, twice a day, 3 times a day. So making a conscious choice to be happy is something we do every day.
So even through tough times, financial crisis, relationship issues, we just have to make a choice. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. And then just look for something, if you are having a bad day, what I love to do is just put my hand here. Do you know 1 million people around the world didn't wake up this morning? and I've got a heartbeat, I've got a breath. So really,
So it's about being grateful and having that reality check, yeah?
yeah, that everything's available, you know, and just writing down, like, I love my gratitude journal, writing down every day 3 things that I'm grateful for. So it could just be the coffee. It could be, you know, the fact that I have a bed to sleep in tonight.
Carla, you're always moving, you always got things on the go. What's next for you?
I just feel like, for me, I just want to educate as many people as I can. It's my mission in life to help as many people as I can get happy and to realise that they can be happy right now.
Well, Carla, you're certainly doing that, and thank you so much for coming here to the Celebrity Authority studio. However, just before you go, we actually have a challenge for all of our guests that's on.
Oh, I do like challenges.
I can see you do. Now, this challenge, it's 10 questions in 60-second challenge. So, Carla, do you accept the challenge?
Sure do.
All right, Carla, your time starts now. Favourite colour?
Oh, blue.
Blue. Favourite food?
Oh, tofu and salmon. That's 2.
Yum. Favourite celebrity?
Oprah Winfrey.
Oh, she's amazing, isn't she?
Incredible.
Yeah. Favourite actor?
Muriel from Muriel's Wedding. What's her name?
She's the Australian girl. Yeah, I know who you mean. Favourite professional speaker? Thank you. Favourite book?
Dr. Zeus.
Oh, really? Which one?
All of them. Go back and read them. They're all about happiness.
They're great. I totally agree. Favourite movie?
Ooh. Blood Diamond.
Blood Diamond. That's a great movie, isn't it? Yeah. Favourite city?
Oh, I've been to lots. New York.
New York, New York. Favourite drink?
Oh. Vodka, lime and soda. Yeah,
yeah, lime and soda. Favourite pizza topping?
Vegetarian, with extra avocado.
Extra avocado, has to be extra. And Carla Simpson, if you could be an animal, which animal would you be?
An elephant.
An elephant? Why is that?
Because when I was in Africa, they're just so happy. And they just plod along. They're in no rush, you know, and just swinging along.
Carla, thank you so much for coming along here to the Celebrity Authority Show. Before transcendence, there was, and there is, transformation. The path of transformation is both challenging and rewarding. One man who has taken on the transformation challenge and won is here today to share his rewards with you. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the transformed man, Sean Nicholas O'Leary.
Thank you, Sam. And thank you for giving me your attention today, because I'm here to share with you my feelings. Actually, I'll share one feeling with you because it's the most powerful feeling of all. It's a feeling that transcends all others. It's a feeling that I have with me every moment of the day. And it's a feeling that gives me my unstoppable energy. I want to share with you how this feeling came to be so powerful for me. And I want to share with you the 5 steps of transformation that lead to the energy and this feeling. This feeling is the feeling of pure joy. Now, I'm not talking about the blissful joy that puts a smile on your face, or even the joy that comes from absence of sadness. I'm talking about the deep, intense joy that sits in your heart and brings you bliss and inner peace. Let me explain it this way. This feeling came to me about 9 months into my transformation journey. I'd lost over 30 kilos in weight. I'd started to transform my mental, spiritual, and emotional issues. And there I was, standing in the shower. As I was reliving the journey, thinking about all the struggles and all the triumphs, an overwhelming sensation came to me. As I was standing there, I felt all energy, all feeling, all thought empty away, as if I was being washed away with the water. And then, in this emptiness, a new energy started to rise, a powerful, pulsating, vibrating energy. It came up through my feet, through my shins, into my thighs, into my torso, into my lungs, into my shoulders, into my neck. And as it expanded up through my head, it filled every cell of my body. And as it filled every part of my body, a powerful force brought this energy back into my core. And it pushed this energy up into my heart. And when it got to my heart, I felt boom. And for a moment, all energy, feeling, and thought stopped. And then it streamed back in, deep into the core of my heart, pulsating, powerful. At that moment, I knew that I transformed. I knew that I transcended. I knew that I transcended my past life, my past actions, behaviors, emotions, and feelings. I was in a place where I felt pure joy. And I knew I was never going back. I want to share with you the 5 steps of transformation that I went through, because I truly believe that if I can do it, you can too. Not just in health and fitness, but in any pursuit and purpose. And as you can see, transformation is what I live. So the first step in transformation is to stop. Stop, take a reality check. Wake up and become aware. Become aware of what you have, who you are, how you operate. Because awareness is the precursor to positive change. Awareness is the precursor to positive change. My awareness came like a freight train, smashing my 42 years of life into pieces. I left a long-term marriage. I left a business that wasn't making any money. And there I was, somehow survived, but in a 135 kilo mass of a body, with a long, long list of chronic health issues. But this new awareness gave me a choice. Gave me the choice to give up or move forward. And that's the second step in transformation. Move, take action, change direction, get in motion, move away from what's causing you pain. So I got into action. I started to search and seek and discover. I did get a little bit fitter, a little bit healthier. I started to transform my mental, emotional, and spiritual self. But my 28 years of dieting, anxiety, and emotional and health issues didn't give me the breakthrough strategies for me to transform. So I took the third step in transformation. I reached out for guidance. And now when I talk about guidance, I talk about the guidance of a master who has traveled the path before you, who has the knowledge and expertise that he can bring to you. Someone you resonate with and is willing to help. Fortunately for me, my master happened to be a friend who was an elite physique athlete. And he showed me the way. He showed me what to do, but I did the work. He showed me the fourth step of transformation. He taught me that it's the routines and rituals that lead to the change. The actions that you do over and over and over again that compound to bring about the transformation. He taught me that it's the application of the information that leads to the transformation. It's the doing of the knowing that creates the change. I did the work, I made the changes. But there's one more step. There's one more step, but I can't show you or teach you this step. It's something you have to do. And that is to let go. Let go and believe in possibility. Go on faith. Follow the path, continue the journey. Take your awareness with you. Move, take action. Follow the guidance of a master. Do the routines and rituals. Apply the information. Create the transformation. If you follow these steps, you will transform. When you transform, you get to a place along the journey where you put yourself into a position where you can transcend. And in that position of transcendence, you will feel the power of pure joy. And when you feel that power of pure joy, you too will have an unstoppable energy. Thank you.
Hi guys, how you going? Sam Cawthorne here, and for those people that don't know, I'm the CEO and founder of both Speakers Institute and Speakers Tribe. And every single month we put together this curriculum video for our Speakers Tribe all around the world. We currently run Speakers Tribe in 5 different regions all throughout the world, and obviously being founded here in Australia. We are super excited about what's possible when you lean into a community that really wants to help you to make a difference in the world. Super excited about the thing, and for this into difference, I cannot encourage you enough. This is our premier event every single year where we assemble some of the greatest thought leaders and futurists of our day and bring them in to come and share their knowledge and their secret ingredients in our one annual event. So today's curriculum video is all about process. And as many of you guys know, as a thought leader, as an expert, as someone that really wants to make a difference in the world, you have been through experiences for a reason. And these experiences, and through these experiences, you've developed your own intellectual property. And so today's curriculum video is about process. How can you teach other people the process in order for them to catch what you have already caught? And so this is part of your own intellectual property. This is your content. And ultimately, as you develop your content, you can then position yourself as a real go-to authority, as a thought leader, as an expert in the marketplace. So people can come along and listen to your valuable advice and your opinion because you have intellectual property around that. So today's conversation is going to be more around your teachable framework. And so as you develop your own teachable framework, and a lot of this part is around the visual representation of your teachable framework, and if you can teach other people what you've caught all throughout your experiences so they can catch it, ultimately then you're actually then known as someone that's produced some amazing content. So we're going to teach you a framework which is all around how to create and design your own IP, your own teachable framework around your intellectual property. So as you can see there, here's our model. And in this model here, you've got outcome, catch what you've already caught. And so I'm going to show you our teachable frameworks for you to create your own teachable framework. So the very first element is this, as you can see, is gather. So gather is all about gathering everything that you know, whether it's all your problems, all the ideas, all the research, all the stories, but it's about doing a massive dump. And so we're calling this a verbal vomit of everything you have. One thing I found when it does come to creating your own intellectual property is it is about literally just starting afresh. So dumping everything that you know around a certain area, around a certain topic, just dumping it all out. And then once you've done that, the second thing is defining. And this is around defining how many steps. So now that you've done this massive dump, how many individual steps is it? And this is about creating like a step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, or maybe it's in the design of a pyramid, or maybe it's in the design of a Venn diagram, or maybe it's in the design of a cycle, or maybe it's more chronological, step 1, step 2, step 3. So define, first of all, how many steps so I can catch what you've already caught in your teachable framework. Once you've defined how many steps it is, the third element here is experiment. So experiment is all around the visual appearance and really refine exactly what this visual appearance is. And as I was saying, it could be a Venn diagram. It could be a cycle. It could be a chronological step-by-step. It could be a pyramid. So it totally just depends what exactly is the visual framework of your IP model. And then the fourth area here is testing it. Does it work? Does it work both one-to-one, one-to-many? Does it work both macro and micro? Does it work for corporates, for individuals, for couples, for relationships, for young people, for old people? Does your teachable framework work? So in most cases, as you can see here on the screen, you've got our cycle visual framework here, but maybe your visual framework could be something different. And ultimately, you've been through your experiences for a reason. And through that experiences, you've learned something. Teach us what you've learned. Give us a tangible step-by-step guidance on how we can catch what you've already caught. And one thing I found all throughout my life is that if you can make your IP easily catchable, then people will lean in more to what you have to say, and ultimately people will lean in more to, your next piece of IP, or even take out their wallet for what you're selling. Guys, I really hope that today's very short curriculum video gave you value. And again, please, can I encourage you to lean into your own Speakers Tribe. And I really want to acknowledge our amazing leaders that are there with you guys. These leaders do phenomenal work, and huge acknowledgement to you all, and really looking forward to seeing your journey go from where it is today to where you really want to be. And I have found all throughout my life that the greatest way to grow is by upgrading your proximity, which is exactly what we do here at Speakers Tribe. So certainly really excited about what's possible in your next steps, and always remember that the best is yet to come. We'll see you soon.
I'm here to learn a structure to be a speaker. If you have the will, you can develop your skills. My experience is it's a very, very beautiful structure, very easy and simplified for us to take it. And it was a great experience because by the end, you actually surprise yourself that you can do it. How do we start? I found there's one formula that always works. Be consistent, be persistent, be insistent. Usually when I talk, I never knew that words have gestures. So today when I'm talking, my eyes can speak, my hands can speak, my body language can speak. This is a great takeaway. I've never seen a huge team supporting us. But Sam has definitely flown a lot of coaches, trained, supports for us. It was an amazing 3 days.
I think you're pregnant again with a new seed in your world. This seed is very soon going to give birth into a new chapter in your life hasn't been written yet. But I can see that you are in this beautiful transition and the seed has been planted and you're pregnant with it. And you're going to give birth to a brand new world and you're going to take things to a whole nother level. You know something? What you've already seen in the past, you ain't seen nothing.
Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in for today's episode here at Speakers TV. My name is Sam Cawthorne and we are super excited about Speakers TV and about these episodes that we bring to you every single weekday as well as also on every single Saturday. Guys, we'd love to hear from you. If you've got any feedback at all for us, or maybe you want to comment right now in the chat bar about what was your biggest takeaway from today's session. But also not only that, why don't you join us? So here at Speakers Institute, we do have a number of programs such as our online boot camps or our protege program. At Speakers Tribe here, we're all about running these big, large annual conferences every year. But also not only that, there is an annual membership that you can get where in your city we do have tribe gatherings, all really encouraging you going from where you are today to where you really want to be. Or maybe you want to tell your friends and your family about Speakers TV. But can I please encourage you, why don't you like this page? Why don't you join us each day? Why don't you tell other people about these episodes? Because we are all about really helping you on this journey to becoming that recognized voice of authority, for you to find your message and your story and get that out there into the world. We are super excited about your journey, so please lean in and join us today. To your success, my name is Sam Cawthorne, and don't forget, the best is yet to come.